good evening, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are and whatever frame of mind you may be in. My name is Samuel Davis III, and I am the host of Uplift Our Community podcast, powered by Bridge Visions. Today, we got a little something special for you all. We're going to meet some of the founders and some of the important people behind Uplift Our Community podcast. Today, we want to get to know who we are, what we're all about, and just talk a little bit. So let's start off here. I'm going to let everybody know, first off, introduce yourselves, who you are, and what city you're in. And I'll start with myself. My name is Samuel Davis. I live in Oceanside, California. I've been a resident of Oceanside since I graduated here in 1984. Served in the U.S. Air Force, and I am also a retired member of the Department of Justice. I retired with the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and I am proud to say that I am an Ocean Cityan or an Ocean Sider, some say. Next up.
So my name is Gordon Chavez. I'm also an Osider. I've been living in Oceanside since probably 1980. I've lived in other places in there. There's little gaps, but for the most part, Oceanside. My wife and I are raising 4 boys in Oceanside, and my interest is building more community through the app that you guys will see as we release it, and creating a platform for people to be able to share what they do, what they're passionate about, in a way that helps others.
Right.
All right, I'm Chris Parks. I'm a 30-year. I worked for Exxon for 30 years. I'm a retired ExxonMobil employee. 30 years of employment from the bottom to the top. So basically, started pushing the broom to supervising. I'm now an Osider, since this is the only city I spent more than 10 years in my life, being a military brat, living around the world. 5 kids, 17 grandkids, 2 great grandkids. I'm still only 40 years old. Last part is a lie. 60 years old. Anyway, I'm so a clown. I mean, I sometimes help myself. So, no, I'm passionate about helping people win. You know, I really focus on the finances, creating systems within people's budgets. You know, people really don't know how to budget, so I create a system on how people can manage their funds. So that's my passion in watching them win.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angel Mora, born and raised in Oceanside, California. I mean, everyone knows Tri-City, so that's where I was born, which is why I might have come out a little, a little weird as well. What I do, I have my own marketing business. And the reason why I wanted to start it in the first place was because marketing kind of has that negative connotation, kind of like sales, where people just kind of want your money, don't really do anything. And that's kind of why I wanted to change that narrative, especially being from Oceanside, helping local businesses. I really wanted to change that with what I do.
That's what's up, Angel. Thank you. I didn't know that you were born in Tri-City, man. That's what's up. Okay. Oscar is coming in here late. This is the founder of Lived Experiences. Oscar, we're asking you are the last one in. We're asking everybody to introduce themselves and tell us what you do. So please do.
What's going on? Good morning. Good morning. You guys hear me okay? Just wanted to test it out. Man, what's up, guys? How's it going? Real apologies for my little late entry. I'm actually out here at Big Bears celebrating my son's birthday still. So so founder of Lived Experiences, community-based nonprofit in Oceanside. With this whole idea of like that we could do better, be better, and serve better. And so super happy to be surrounded with amazing peeps like y'all. I learned a lot from y'all, and so I'm here. So should I throw a little bit more detail, or is that good?
Yes, please. We'd like to know how many kids you got and where you're from.
Man, I have two. I have a daughter who is 17, and my son who just recently turned 8, and then my two nieces and nephew who are 15. No, this is 15, 14, 13. We all hang out together, and so um, grew up in Oceanside, right there on right next to my first memory of Oceanside was right there, 101 Cafe. Next to it, there used to be a BMW back in the day, and there used to be a trailer park right there. And then on top, there was a little house, and that was my first memory of Oceanside, man. And so, which the house is still there, super cool, man, super cool. And so we did the parade the 4th of July parade in Oceanside, right? And we walked back to my old house, and I turned around and told my dad, "Hey, dude, check it out. We used to live out there, remember?" He's like, "Oh yeah." So man, back in the day, they used to have the fireworks in the Oceanside Pier, and so we used to jump on top of the roof of our pad, bro. Best view ever. But yeah, I always grew up in Oceanside. I was always been blessed to grow like to live on the west side of the five, until later on in life when I moved out to Deep Valley. Um, but man, it's a blessing to be able to serve my community, to be able to learn what I know now, and to be able to live a better life because of what I know now. So yeah.
Okay, now Oscar, you left out two important things for us here.
Mhm.
First and foremost, we know good and well you grew up in Oceanside, but where are you from? Come on, man. Where are you from? Spit it out.
Man, no. So
Where were you born and raised at? And what did you just do last week in the city?
yeah, man. So I mean, I grew up in Center Street. People call it Crown Heights, but I grew up in Center Street. But I live in a lot of places in Oceanside, man. So
I'm talking
I,
about where were you born at, Oscar? Where are you born? You know you from
yeah,
the
no.
streets, man. I'm just
Oh
gonna
well,
throw it out.
well, actually, okay. So story is that so back in the day, everybody was born and with Dr. White at Tri City Hospital, right? Everybody was
Oh,
born. If you were not born with Dr. White, you ain't from Oceanside, man. And so when I was going with my parents, the story is that my parents were heading to Tri City, right? My mom was already at the emergency room, bam, about to pop out, type of thing. Well, Doctor White wasn't available apparently. Like the guy wasn't there for whatever reason, or it was all booked. There was two little fatties like myself, like trying to be born that day, So my mom was about to go in labor, they couldn't wait, and so they sent her to the medical center down in San Diego State, uh, at the UCC Medical Center. But so they were there, "Hey, what are you doing here? You got to go to Tri City. That's where insurance, whatever. You got to get your butt over there." So they sent her back to Tri City, and then whatever happened, and they sent her back to UCSD Medical Center. And at the time, it was an emergency, so I popped out at USD Medical Center. So I was
ah,
born in I was born in La Jolla.
okay.
That's my birth certificate.
Okay.
Popped out in La Jolla, but at the time, I mean, we was already living in Oceanside, so drove back to Osud. But
Right.
my parents, they 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 migrated to they weren't part of the Bracero program or anything like that, but they came over. My dad came over first, and he was working down at Solana Beach, Lucadia, Encinitas, and they were not called homeless. They weren't called homeless back then. Oh, hold on, sorry about that. They weren't kind of homeless back then, but they were campers, so they were living in the bushes and the brushes before Lucadia was Lucadia, before El Camino was El Camino Real, and then slowly migrated from Solana Beach, Encinitas, Lucadia, Carlsbad, and somehow, some way, ended up at the little house that I was telling you about. But yeah, man.
Anything you want to tell us about District 2?
District 2, man. District 2 is the last of the last cultural districts in Oceanside, man. Probably even in North County, bro. Um, things are changing. Things are changing. So if you talk to people like my dad and my uncles and others who've been around since the late 70s, early 80s, they what's happening now has been happening since they've been here, which is like the slow concrete buildings going up, and everybody's getting pushed up north and to the east, and Well, we don't have an east in Oceanside. It's Camp Pendleton. So, I mean, we don't have a north in Oceanside. It's Camp Pendleton. So everybody's going east now. It's slowly going east, northish kind of a thing, Temecula, Murrieta, and everything like that. So D2 from all the way from the Fireside, Fireside north of Mission Avenue, north of the 76, all the way to like Moro Hills, a little bit like close to. It's kind of weird because it goes all the way to like the back gate, and then it kind of comes down. But there's a little bit of that District 1 still in there, or District 4, whatever it is. But everybody who grew up in D2 knows Arbolitos, knows Fireside, knows Deep, right? And those communities have heavily historically been Black communities, Samoan communities, Mexican communities, Asian communities, and so it's heavily influenced by cultural. The businesses are still mom and pop businesses, something that you won't see. You know, our community centers is in a spot that it's like the last cultural shopping center. You know, that after that shopping center is gone, then what do we have? We can't shop mom and pops no more. You know, no Billos, right? We have us. We have Don Carlos store next to us. We have the flower shop. The guy who sells flowers in the corner. I mean, probably Gordon knows since he was a kid. Man, that guy's been there forever, and that guy's struggling to sell flowers, and he doesn't want to give it up. You know, and so District 2 is that, man, and it's like a village within a village. You go in there and you drive to whatever street you want to drive through. You want to drive through Pala, you want to drive through Leon, you want to drive through wherever, and then it's just like a little town within a town, and I think that's the beautiful thing where the people make the community, and so or the neighborhoods, and excuse me, and it's something that we want to keep. You know, something we want to keep forever, man. So something I want to see. If it's not even myself, it's somebody else that wants us to invest in the idea that they should keep these neighborhoods alive by making them historical neighborhoods, man. They can be untouched, you know. They should.
Okay, good. So what you started doing, you talked about, was very passionate, and that's the next question that I want to ask everybody. I'm gonna start with you, Chris. What I would like to do is, Oscar had talked about something, and what I was trying to get him to do was talk about his run for District 2. That's passion. That's what I was trying. I couldn't get him to get his words out just right, but he is very passionate about that. So I want to ask you, Chris, what are you passionate about? You can name a couple things if you feel.
Well, the main thing is the people winning against a system that wasn't designed for everyday citizens to win financially, that is. So it's, you know, my passion just pouring into people that they can do it, and it's not so much lack of finances, it's lack of planning. So when you put the plans in place and you let the plans run, you know, it works. It may not be as fast like the lottery, like everybody wants to win, but even those that win the lottery don't maintain it and don't move forward because they don't have a plan. You always got to have a plan before you have money, and most people think that's backwards, but if you don't set that in place, you set the plan, you earn the money, then you create a habit by following that plan. And that's how we get out of this cycle. So to me, just watching the light bulb come on with people, especially young people, you know, because everybody wants to be the flashy person, and that's not success. That's a visual of what we have been trained as people of what success is. And to me, success is waking up when you're done sleeping, you know. So your money is making enough money to where you don't have to get up. So when you're done sleeping, you get up. Yeah, and that's the mindset, you know, that I push people towards, but do it on their timetable. You know, there is no timetable for it. You just got to be involved and engaged.
Okay. All right. Gordon, I'd like to ask the same for you. What are you passionate about?
So I would say community building, you know, bringing people together, diversity. You know, when people say diversity, sometimes, or probably most of the time, you think either ethnically, culturally, or, you know, nationally, if you want to talk about nationalism and things like that. But I love all that diversity, but I also want diversity like in perspective, diversity, everyone here has a different perspective on life, different way they look at this, the way they look at that. And the more diverse ideas and mindsets we have coming together, the better outcome that we're going to have, I think, as long as we're all in it to help each other win, right? And then I'm also passionate about helping people become um, financially independent, maybe is the word. And I know that term is used a lot, but I feel like our banking system and our financial system has a stronghold on everybody, on everybody, right? Everything that we do depends on, they're the ones that are moving things this way or that way. Whereas if somebody, is able to create a system within their own household, within their family, where they don't have to be so dependent on the banking system, getting a loan, what kind of interest rates are going on, things like that. um for me, each family will live a happier, stress-free life, I think, if they have something to counter being so dependent. And it's not something that happens overnight. It takes time. It takes a paradigm shift, because our system, our financial system, is either taught or not taught everywhere in school. And so if we're only learning what they want us to learn, then by the time we become adults, we have a whole lot of deprogramming to do, and then reprogramming, relearning, and looking at things a little differently, because we're meant to feed that system. And everything that happens, whether it's lack of education or not, it's intentional. And we have to kind of just, you know, figure stuff out for ourselves sometimes, or connect with people that are saying that there's another way to look at things.
All right, go ahead, Gordon. I like that. Angel.
Where to begin? So I guess I'm passionate about showcasing people to the world, and in my case, it's kind of what I do. Especially now, focused more on video work. Um, Especially like someone like me. I mean, most of my family doesn't have a degree. I think I was probably one of the first in my immediate family to get a degree, to have their own business, and even just in that, showcasing that to other people. So if another kid going through middle school, high school sees another brown kid having their own business, they can say, "Man, I didn't think that that was even possible for someone like me from Oceanside," you know? So I'm super passionate about just showcasing that through everything that I shoot as well, when it comes to video work. So
Okay. All right. Well, Oscar, I'm gonna give you one more shot to talk about that District 2 thing. Can you tell me what are you passionate about, Oscar?
Man. No, you know, I think I think for me, you want to say, come here, son. Want to say good morning? Say good morning. Good morning. Say good morning.
What's up, man?
um, that's yeah. Later in life, man, as maybe as an adult, um, I learned how to give purpose to my life, man, and with that being the like the mission every time I wake up is that's in the back of my head every time I don't meditate, but I do a lot of reflection in the mornings just to kind of get my day going, my little cup of coffee of how was yesterday, today, what's gonna be tomorrow, and that makes me happy. Well, it makes me happy when I reflect on the fact that right now I'm surrounded with my kids, and even though I'm the only adult here, I'm still having fun in some kind of way or another, and but I'm also like just having a conversation with you guys. It's a good reflection of myself and who I am and who I'm gonna become still, because there's still a lot of transforming to be and to do, and I love to learn still, and so. My purpose that I've given myself in life is to be the best server I could be of information, of happiness, of human connection, of resource. I just want to be of service to people in some way or another, and I want to do what I can to do to make sure that someone's happy, that most are happy, that I'm happy. Because if I make y'all happy, make other happy, at least try to make happy, then in return, I could be happy, and that could be through financial literacy education, through video connection, through just having a conversation like this, through just knowing Big Sam, and because I know that somehow, some way that we could, uplift each other, right? And I think that's the whole purpose of life in some kind of way. And I think that's how we got here from millions of years ago. Me myself, I'm gonna be an ancestor to somebody a million years later, man. And so the way I see it is that somehow, someday, or somehow back millions of years ago, they worked hard to learn something, to just have the opportunity for the next generation to be able to be alive and present here today. It was a journey, and so my life is a journey. And so with that, and knowing how capable I am, I want to be able to leave this earth better than what it used to be in. And so that's why I run for office. That's why I wake up every morning broke and try to pay rent at the community center. And it's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it's human. And people who are in District 2 are human, brother, or District 1 or in Oceanside across. And so running for District 2, brother, maybe my passion is not fiery, maybe my passion is not like breaking windows off the wall and going left and right, but my passion is there, man. My passion is there, and it's something that it's unquestionable, right? And for the people in District 2 who I look like, I speak like, I eat like, I walk around peeps like that every single day, and it's a beautiful thing for them to give me the trust and confidence to even just give me a signature and say, hey, man, for sure, I'll back you up. And people are ready, people are fiery, man. And it might not be me who wins this election. It might not be this time, but there's a video that that someone sent me not too long ago. It was from Brandon Moreno, the UFC fighter, when he was fighting. He wanted to match. He said, "It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next year, but I will be champion, brother." And so that's the way I see it. It might not be change, might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but it's gonna happen, bro, and it's already happening one way or the other. So, man, I appreciate the opportunity to be alive, bro. And so right now I'm a big bear. Well, there ain't nothing to complain, man. You know what I mean? And so I
hear
appreciate
that.
it, man.
I hear that. So I'm gonna hype on you for a little bit, Oscar, just right now, and before I talk about myself, because I'm gonna say this right now. Every one of us, we've all talked about connecting with different people and how we like to do things, and we're passionate about things. To me, what you do in particular, feeding people, is one of the most, I can't tell you, is one of the closest things, a spiritual thing that you can get to someone else. If someone doesn't have any food to eat and they're hungry, and you change that by using with your food bank or washing clothes or giving them a place to be able to come to, just to get away so they can wash clothes and so they can pick up food, is one of the most amazing things that anybody can do in this community. And that to me, because I've dealt with those individuals who didn't have food, and I've saw what they've done when they don't got food, when they don't got money. And I had to deal with them on the professional side with them in the Bureau of Prisons. So I have to give you that, you gotta pat yourself on the back. And last Friday, we just did a podcast on promoting yourself, self-promoting, and how difficult it can be. Sometimes it's always easy to look at someone else and say, hey, he's doing this or he's doing that, and I wish I could do that. But sometimes you got to look at what you're doing and look at it, really, really take a good look at what you're doing so that you can pat yourself on the back and say, hey, I'm doing these things. I'm that's me from me to you. That to me is huge. It's huge. So for myself, I am very passionate about connecting individuals. I think, when I was on your board before, a couple years ago, I had cancer. Man, let me tell you, nothing change your life any worse than when someone gives you a diagnosis of cancer. And you start hearing, you start thinking all kinds of crazy thoughts, and they run through your head. And I am thankful, first and foremost, that I'm here. But I'm very passionate about helping people become the best that they can be of themselves. I am myself, and my wife and I, we are both trauma facilitators. And when you're dealing with trauma, trauma comes in all kinds of ways, whether you can't make bills on time, being broke, being hungry all the time, that can cause trauma. You may not realize it, and then you stack that on top of the fact that your car just got hit, or you're getting towed, or you got some bills to pay, and that's more trauma. And then you got the divorce, and then you got this, and you got that, and it stacks. And people don't realize that they carry a lot of those things with them everywhere they go. And that's where I feel that that's my passion, is getting that person when they're stuck, to give them some resources or direction where they can go. And if I can't do it, then I do my best to make sure I can find someone that I know, such as yourself, Oscarin, and say, hey, you can get your clothes washed over here. Hey, you need to get your finances. I know this guy, Chris Parks. Hey, he can sit back and help you get your finances tight. What, you needed to get a video services? I got a guy named Angel who can help you out. And I don't know how much he charges, but we can talk about it. Everybody has something, and that's why we're here today. First and foremost, we want people to know who we are and just how passionate we are about each and every one of our different projects that we're doing and what we're bringing here. So with that being said, I'm going to ask you, Gordon, why did you decide to become a part of the Uplift Our Community app? Why?
Why? It's always about the why.
About the why.
I want to piggyback on what Angel said earlier, because traditionally speaking, business is done a certain way where you have a producer and a consumer, right? And so there can be negative connotation to that, where, maybe somebody is maybe taking advantage of somebody else, right? Maybe somebody is not getting the value out of the transaction that they're supposed to get, and maybe the producer, the person that's offering the product or service, is not being fully transparent about everything that they're offering. And so I believe that this platform will create an environment where we can eliminate that. We can kind of create a win-win situation. I honestly was inspired by what Oscarin does with his, gatherings, his events, his food distributions. Anytime he puts on something in a neighborhood where he's at, it's really a neighborhood thing. I've even asked him, like, you're not posting this, you're not sharing where it's going to be, or where, and he kind of gently told me, I don't necessarily want everybody to know. It's not for everybody necessarily. It's for that community. And it becomes this thing where the community helps itself versus kind of a divided haves and have not type thing, where one person is helping somebody else that's maybe more disadvantaged. It's never that when you go to anything that Oscarin does. It's the community helping itself. And so this Uplift Our Community platform, I think, will be kind of like a digital extension of that. It'll be kind of a space where if a business or a vendor wants to offer their products or services there, they need to lead with education. They need to educate the people on the value that they're offering, even the do's and don'ts. Like, if you're offering something, tell people this is the pros, but these are the cons. And if it's not a right fit for you, good, let's not maybe move forward on that, but at least I'm educating people on what it is I'm offering. But beyond the business side of it, it'll create a space where people can help each other just on a community level. Maybe when they're not hanging around with each other at the community center, or when they're not at the beach hanging out together, or when they're not at a quinceañera, birthday party, whatever, they can quickly get on their phone, send a quick message, share a post, something that they learned, something that's of value, that could be of value to others. It all goes back to the community building for me, and that's why I wanted to be a part of this.
Okay, all right, I hear that. Thank you for that, Angel. Why did you decide to become a part of this app?
Honestly, I think it first started off because even before knowing anything about the app, I believe I was introduced to everyone here. And to me, the first thing that came up when I met everyone, with just a little conversation with everyone, was think different. And I think that's what this Uplift Our Community app will be for a lot of people, and especially I'm hoping for businesses, because I know in my case, I'm not a part of a lot, if any, resources within my city of Oceanside, only because I find that it's just money that they want, and there's no real resources or help. And I mean, this will be a community-based app where not only help from maybe professionals, but also within the community, where like people, if someone needs help and if they have that resource to help, they can message someone, be like, hey, I have this, I can help you with this. And it could be kind of, I mean, a barter system in a way, but I mean, obviously, I mean, if it's possible to pay that person whatever amount it is. But I think that community-based app is going to be an awesome thing for the community and for a lot of business owners and people in general.
There you go. That's right. I think the other thing that we're looking for, definitely we've talked about, is that these are all verified resources. They're not just somebody saying, hey, put my friend up there. These are all verified. Everyone who says that's on this app is someone that we've known and we can personally vet for. I don't know how many people who are watching this right now have ever got a hookup from a friend and they say, hey, call this guy up. And you call him up and he doesn't answer. And you call him again and he says, hey, I'll try to get back to you. And then you don't hear nothing about a week, and you're in your position and you're even more in a dire position and you don't know where to go. That's what this app is going to try to alleviate. We want, when you put your name on this app, we know that it's going to be a verified resource, someone that we call, starting with us right here. When you call one of us, we're going to know, hey, I need some food. I need some financial help. I need some help. We're going to be here for that. And with that being said, Chris, why did you decide to become a part of Uplift Our Community app?
Actually, I've done a lot of things in the community, and I've known each one of you guys. Sam, you're the latest one I've met, but I didn't even realize I knew Angel from when he was a kid on the soccer field. And I was out there. I wasn't the coach, but I was coaching, telling the coach what he should be doing with these kids. And that's just me. When I see an issue where I can help improve it, I step in and help. I don't wait for permission, and don't ask where that came from, because I'm used to be a shy person. And met Gordon through a radio station I used to have. Well, why did I have the radio station? Because there was kids in the community that were trying to get their music heard, and radio stations wanted them to pay $2,500 to $5,000 to play at one time, and they wouldn't even tell them when it was played. So these kids had nowhere to go. And I seen it as an opportunity to get these kids off the street. That's why I got involved with the soccer. It kept the kids off the street. Idle mind is a devil's playground. So as long as I can keep these kids involved in something with my work schedule that I had, it's like I'm definitely going to try to help out. So, meeting Gordon, him and we started having conversations, and he seemed community driven, like I was community driven. And at the time, Oceanside was not my community. I'm an outsider to Oceanside. So to build what I built as an outsider, a lot of people didn't have a lot of trust or faith in me. And I always told them it wasn't about me. It was about you. I'm just providing you the platform to do what you guys do. And I'll pay the bills. Y'all get in here and do what you do and make the best of it. And through that, I don't know how I met Oscar. Oscar, how did we end up meeting? But then I introduced him to other people that help his organization as well, which we need to get back on to those people, Oscar, see what we can do about this little issue that came up. So it's always about growing up in a tight-knit family in Pennsylvania, where we always had a family member. Either they owned the sanitation department, they owned the candy store, they were the caterers, and I mean, this is like family. So I've always been that's my community, was actually cousins. Our cousins are cousins that are cousins. And that's why we had to move too, because they were getting too close. But anyway, so I know what a tight knit community is, and I know that it can happen. So I'm always trying to bring people together because we all have a special purpose that someone else can use, even though we don't know that we have it. Just listening to someone and having been in their shoes before, just being that shoulder for them takes people a long way, you know. And that's kind of why I got involved with Uplift the Community, because Oceanside is a diamond in this country, not just this county. When I moved here, I was like, man, I hope too many people don't find out about this place because it would get crowded. I mean, you don't, people don't understand. They haven't, a lot of people haven't been out of Oceanside or San Diego. They don't understand what we have here in Oceanside. It's like, right now, I don't have no hair, but if I did, it'd be standing up. You know, it's like, man, this city is something else with the good and the bad. Uh, and the opportunities that are here, we got to get the citizens on the bottom to rise up, because we're missing a lot of opportunity here. A lot of outsiders come in, drop their money, and then they send it off to wherever they are, and they don't reinvest in our community. You know, I'm all about this community, and so I'm just here to try to help out wherever I can and fit in where I can fit in, and just be that plug for other people. That's why I
Okay.
kind of.
Well, so I got to ask you before we get on the Oscar end. So now I thought you were from the Bay. Now you tell me you're from PA.
I'm from all over, baby.
Man, whoa! I'm like, that's some new stuff here.
Okay, so I was born in Pennsylvania,
Okay,
in a little town called Easton, Pennsylvania. Like I said, everybody in
Easton,
that town,
the bats where they make the bats.
Larry Holmes.
Oh, well, of course, that Easton
Larry
assassin.
Holmes
Okay.
is a cousin that is actually one separated. So my cousin is in Larry Holmes's family. Larry Holmes' mother and my grandmother were best friends. So
Ah,
when he was my uncle, and my uncle's friend actually got Larry Holmes into boxing. So they pulled him, and this is just where my family is. So they seen a kid that could fight, so they pulled him into the gym and started training him.
hmm.
So probably a story I shouldn't even tell. But anyway, they were still with Larry Holmes when he hooked up with Muhammad Ali. He became Muhammad Ali's sparring partner.
Hmm.
And you heard this story about Muhammad Ali beat up Larry Holmes on the ring. Well, that had a lot to do with Uncle. I got that. It's just a matter of people coming together to help people. Way
Hmm.
my family is, where my grandparents were. Come to find out, it's where my great grandparents were. You know, nobody went hungry. Nobody went without a roof over their head if the family had it. And if you didn't have it in your home, you called your brothers, your sisters, or your nieces or nephews, whoever might be able to help. You know, and that's the way I was raised, and it's in my DNA. So if you know me, you know, if you ever came to my house, always been somebody in my house until now. This first time I not have anybody in my house. One of my rooms was always used by somebody that wasn't one of my kids.
Okay.
They would
Okay.
even stop letting people live with you. Oh, well, and, you know, I got to help them get them on their feet and then send them out the bird's nest. You know, some people just get kicked out, and it's not cool. You know,
Okay.
we all need
Okay.
a foundation, and not that mine is the best, but it is a foundation.
There you go.
I'm
There you
not saying
go.
I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect, but we have qualities that other people can grow off of.
There you go. Now, that's what's up. That's what's up. Now, Oscar, and I'm going to ask you this: why did you decide to become part of the community? At, but the last few, has it been a month or two that we've been meeting at your facility? So, why are you here? I know I'm here, but why are you here?
No, I think a little bit of what everybody said, but I think essentially the idea of the app that I keep on seeing in my head is that the same way that I meet all y'all, it's the same way like the app should be kind of working, right? In the sense uh, people need people to succeed, and people help people change people, and so uh, love the idea of how to kind of networking, but in a very human way, where I can pick up a phone and call any of you guys, and you guys will answer. And I think that's the idea of the app, where someone needs help to improve themselves, or just get some new knowledge, or just like you mentioned, Sam, just a bag of food. They have the ability and the confidence and trust you to say, let me join on this little app real quick, pop it up, bam, click, message, bam, receive what they want. So uh, and that's how I got to be where I'm at in the sense of the nonprofit, where I always meet somebody one way or the other. It might be something small, might be something big, and it always leads to something even better. And so, to Chris' point of it's a foundation we could start from, and it's always adaptable, and it's always something that we could some of us could offer something to somebody else, and there's I always feel like there's somebody who wants to kind of quote unquote be in our position of power or be in a position of leadership or be in a position of just having a little bit of something that they don't have. And so if we could share it to others, and why not? And so I've been blessed with that idea that people always share something with me, and I just want to share it back. I ain't taking nothing with me the day I'm gone, man. So might as well leave it here to somebody else in good hands, bro. So
There you go.
why not? Why
There
not?
you go. There you go. That's what's up. So let me preface this next question I'm going to ask, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I told you before, I graduated high school here. I told you I worked, served in the military, been overseas, military brat, just like Chris, been around the world and then some. Also worked and the most biggest thing that I experienced was working in the prison system. And I can't explain to you the countless situations that I went in and seeing individuals go from just getting arrested, being separated from their families, and being handcuffed, strip searched, and what a person goes through, what their mind goes through when they hear those doors close. I've seen it, I've experienced it, and it is a very, very traumatic thing. I did not think that I would become a trauma facilitator up until actually after I met Gordon and Oscar and through Dr. Jaime Romo. That was when a couple years ago, when we had a program that we did together, and working with countless men, women, and young adults, and in particular my own people. It's hard to find in the city of Oceanside where does the Black community at? Where do they go for resources at? Who do you talk to? Who is your leader? We don't know who it is. And I mean, you can sit back right now and try to tell me who is the leader of the NAACP. A lot of people couldn't even tell you who that is because they're not into the community like what we are trying to do, what this app is about. And that is part of the unique perspective that I have from my upbringing in law enforcement and military and in this community. Chris made it, you seem like your roots are here almost more deeper than mine. The way you were talking, I was almost kind of embarrassed. Like, well, dang, I need to big up my contribution to this community. My wife, during the pandemic, she actually ran for office. And when she ran for office, I got to see kind of the inner workings of things, what was going on. We got to meet a lot of individuals in the city. A lot of those are still in communication with. A lot of those in positions of power in this city. And you watch what they do, how they move, and you see the things that they do and how they get things done. And I've sat back and said to myself, I can do better than that. I know I can do that. I can do better than that. And I have empathy and I have compassion. And I'm not just doing it for numbers because I'm doing it from my heart. That's part of what I bring, because I've seen those in the bottom and I want to see better for all of us. I definitely want to see better for my people, but I definitely want to see better for all of us. And this is an opportunity. So that is a unique perspective that I bring to this. I'd like to ask Gordon, what unique perspective do you have that you bring to this? Turn on your mic.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
No, I was reading the question in the chat, trying to let me prepare myself so that I can have this amazing answer, right? And that's a hard one. It goes back to the podcast we did last week. Like, how do you promote yourself and why is it so hard? And I think really, I think what I bring is that I feel like I'm able to have a respectful, diplomatic conversation with just about anybody, even if we have fundamental core values that contradict each other. Like I feel like I've had the opportunity and the blessing to be immersed in different cultures. I myself, my mom is white, my dad's Mexican, and I was able to grow up mostly on the Mexican side, but also, when I go back to New York, I can be around that my mom's side of the family. And then growing up in Oceanside, when I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s, Oceanside was more diverse. It's diverse now, but it was more diverse back then, I feel. And so back then on our street, for those of you that are in Oceanside, Gold Drive, our little crew, if you want to call it that, we had Samoan, Mexican, Black, Filipino, white. I mean, just about everything, right? It was like this little United Nations of Oceanside, right? And we had that diversity. But I lived in Buffalo for a little bit. And in Buffalo, I was very much immersed in Black culture, I think for, a year and a half or whatever. And it was because my mom's best friend, who was the matriarch of that family, we hung out together, and I was able to get that perspective to some extent. And in Oceanside, prior to that, I was probably more than anything, even though we were diverse, I was more accepted by the Samoan culture. And so when the white kid said, you're different, you're not like us, go hang out over there, and the Mexican said, you don't really look like us, we don't know about you, the Samoan kid said, you're as tall as we are, come over here, you fit our build structure, whatever. I don't know what they were thinking, I'm guessing, right? But I was accepted by Samoan kids when I was in junior high and high school, more so than anybody else. And so just that unique, diverse upbringing, I think, allows me to be able to relate and talk to and have some sort of an understanding of the different cultural perspectives that people have. And for me, that's a plus when you're trying to bring people together that might not see the world the same way. And that's kind of what I came up with while you guys were talking, like, what do I say, right? So that's my answer to that, I guess.
Thank you for that. Angel, I'm going to ask you now. Angel, I've just met you since we started this whole app and since we started having meetings. I know that you do video, and we haven't had a chance to hang out and chat that much, but I think what you said, being that you were the first in your family to graduate with a degree in college, is that what it was? Yeah. So with that being said, what other unique perspectives do you bring to what we're offering here, and how do you think you can add to this, how do you call it, this, the tossed salad? Is that what they call it about America? They call it is that what they call it? It's a tossed salad of different things and all that. What is your perspective or experience?
Man, I think, as a few have already said, just each one of us is just unique in our upbringing. I was fortunate enough. My parents, with what they did, whether it was maintenance, cleaning houses, I've had a pretty privileged life in the fact that they've always done everything they could to allow me to succeed. I don't know if anyone here, I don't even know if Oscar knows. He might, but I was fortunate enough to go to a private school up until 8th grade here in Oceanside. It was a Montessori school. And that only happened because my mom actually cleaned. She worked at the parish here in Oceanside. And because of that, we were able to get a discount. So they still had to pay, but it was a heavy discount, and which is why I am so grateful for my parents and that upbringing, because I got to see two sides of, I guess, not people, but so I grew up with friends that were from that private school, but because I also played soccer, every one of those just went to all the other public middle schools So I got to see a lot. I mean, even just at my private school, I mean, it was, I guess, as perfect as you could get. And I was probably one of the only few that kind of felt left out because, I mean, we didn't have money. I mean, we were just getting by. I was grateful to have food on my plate every day. Um, and everyone would drive in with their nice cars. I mean, if when people would invite me to their houses, man, I was like, this is the life. But then again, I would have my other friends. I mean, they didn't have any, well, I don't want to say anything, but they didn't have that money. They didn't have those fancy houses. But every time we would hang out, it would just feel like we had everything. Um, and I think that, I mean, that is probably the unique perspective that I bring is just having that sitting in the middle and being able to navigate that just in my daily life, but also professionally whenever I speak with people. And I go again, I guess, kind of with what Gordon mentioned is I'm pretty. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm pretty chill. So I try not. I don't really speak a lot, but I listen. And when I do speak, I try and be as positive, as meaningful as possible, and only really say stuff when I actually truly feel like I need to say stuff. And I think that's probably my unique perspective.
Mm. You know what? I want to say this. So I want to say this. Whether I said it earlier or not, my wife and I, we are caregivers. So we take care of my mother-in-law and father-in-law. They're both in their 90s with memory care issues. And one thing I know about you, Angel, I know you talk about your mother. And I know there's times you talked about your mother, and I feel it. And every time when you say something about your mom, it's like, oh, I got my mom. My mom did this. My mom did that. A lot of people don't say that like that because at a certain age, you stop talking about my mom. Obviously, you still have a very close connection with her, and that's very important. A lot of people don't realize that. You know, you're hearing everyone talk about their unique perspectives. Your perspective is very unique, and I appreciate you, and I thank you for the things that you have said already. So thank you for that. With that being said, I want to bring Chris in. Chris, what unique perspective, Mr. Military Brat, PA to B to the Bay and back to Oceanside, do you?
Man, we ain't got enough time. No. Let me see. Just being, like I said, we were never, when I was young, we lived in Pennsylvania. We were in probably a income driven apartments we used to live in, I guess, with my mom when she was single. And my dad lived in Baltimore, had his own business. So my dad was an eighth grade dropout, from the South. Mother died and she was 29. So I never knew my grandmother on that side. So, and he started his business. So I got to go back to him. And the story he told me was he was married to my mother. He had these kids and he couldn't feed them. So he hitchhiked to New York from Pennsylvania to ask his dad for some money. And now this is our family motto now. His dad told him, I didn't have those kids. It's not my responsibility. You got to figure out how to feed your family. Here's money for bus fare to get back, so you don't have to hitchhike back to Pennsylvania. So he threw that money down, hitchhiked back to Pennsylvania, bought a paintbrush, a bucket, and a roller, and started a painting business. And that's how we were raised working in that business. Wow. So when you say from the bottom to the top, that's ingrained in me. So going from there, and then my mother remarrying, then traveling around the world, living in Spain, and having to go to a whole nother country where you had Americans against Spaniards for the most part, because you didn't speak the language, so you didn't understand. So we were black, white, Chinese, Japanese, Filipino. We were everything. Mexicans. We were the Americans, so we all lived in American housing, and we were different. So this is the first time I've experienced outside different cultures from America to other things. So, and one thing I've noticed as a young child, when we all were kids, all we wanted to do as kids was have fun and have friends. no matter where we came from, whether we were Spanish, we played soccer with them, they played baseball with us. We didn't even speak the same language, but we were able to teach one another how to play each other's sports and how to get along. So that gave me an outlook on life to start. Don't judge people by a group taken by individuals. And there may be a lot of people in that group that are bad apples, but every group has a bad apple,
Mhm.
bad apples. So you can't just lump everybody together. You got to step back and have a perspective of every situation and try to see it from all angles, regardless of what your heart tells you.
Mhm.
Try to see it from the other person's perspective. So growing up, then I get into working for the Fortune 1 company, which is Exxon Mobil, and having conversations, being one of 3 black guys that worked in this unit offshore.
Hmm.
And I would have conversations with the white guys. So, and it'd be more about financing because I was really getting into financing and learning how to manipulate the company's plans to best suit myself. And within those conversations, I would say, well, in our community, talking about the black community, we didn't have conversations about, insurance and finances and stocks and investing, and all, only to find out that most of the people there didn't have those conversations. So that's when I realized it wasn't about the color of your skin. It was about the income that your parents made and where they fit in on if those conversations were happening. So a
Hmm.
lot of guys' parents were nurses and doctors and whatever, and they never had those conversations. They never knew about investing, retirement, So that's what told me it was bigger. The problem is bigger than what I thought it was. I
Hmm.
thought it was driven to black and brown communities that didn't have these financial conversations. And that's why I noticed the gap of the low income, middle class, and upper class. And the upper class wants to maintain their upper classness, regardless if they hurt anyone else on the bottom.
Hmm.
So the gap between upper class and lower class is getting bigger and bigger. So the middle class is being pushed down because of the lack of education. And that's what kind of drove me to start learning more about financing, learn about how money works. It's the reason I won't sign on with the company because if I sign on with a bank, I can only teach what the bank knows. If I sign on with insurance, I can only do what insurance knows. If I go with stocks, only with the stocks. So I kind of get the eclectic of all that from people like Gordon, my CPAs, people that work at the bank. Now my son works at a bank, so now I have that resource. People that work at credit unions. And I have conversations with a lot of people in finance that think I went to school and have a financial degree. I've, I've attended 3 colleges in my life and never went to class to any of them. So don't get it twisted. Uh, so
Hmm.
you know, and so when I look at people with that perspective, taking everybody as an individual, and my own experiences of starting from jumping in dumpsters to being a supervisor for ExxonMobil,
Wow.
that tells me anybody can do anything they set their mind to it if they seen someone else do it, they have a mentor, or they have support. Without those, it's not going to happen. And I had all those in my life. I have so many family members that had their own businesses, so
Hmm.
many lawyers and doctors in the family. But that's not me. But it gave me hope that I could do better. So I just kept pushing and pushing. I'm not, and I wasn't the type of person that can go to school. I didn't like school too much. I always thought
Hmm.
it was a burden and it was holding me back. So I wanted to go to college at 16. My mom told me I was too young, so she wouldn't let me get out of high school. So at 18, I went and started my own business. you
Hmm.
know,
Okay. All right.
my
All
dad
right.
taught me to paint and build, so I went and started my own business. Then he said, "Okay, you've got all these contracts. You need to go to school." I'm
Hmm.
like, why? I got a business. So then he helped destroy my business, and I still didn't go to school. I went and started working for temporary service. I just never give up. I'm hard headed.
Hmm.
Worked temporary service, got hired for one company because of the great job I did. Ended up being a supervisor. Told them I needed more money. They wouldn't hire me, so I went to ExxonMobil. Told them I didn't want their job because they wanted to put me in management. Until someone told me I didn't understand what Exxon was, which I didn't. I thought it was a gas company. So we don't know what we don't know until someone tells us.
Yeah.
So when he explained Exxon to me, he told me if they ask you to scrub a toilet, you take that job.
Mm.
You just need to get in. And that's what I did. And that's how I got here to Oceanside. And just want to pour into people like, hey, don't give up. The only time we quit, and this is my perspective to people, the only time we quit is when we're dead. As long as we wake up breathing, we have an opportunity to change things.
Mm.
You can't change it yourself. Like we have our little team here, you find that support that can change it to help you. You know, so like I said, it's having the perspective of knowing a lot of different people from a lot of different levels in life, from millionaires to billionaires. I know them all. I've talked to them all. I've negotiated with CEOs at Exxon as a president of the union. I've beaten them. I sued them. I won cases. I'm just a young black kid that barely graduated high school because he refused to go to class in his senior year.
Hmm.
Now, I didn't even dress up for PE in my senior year. I pulled my over my school clothes, and the PE teacher knew it and gave me a D instead of an F. Okay, so like anybody can be anything they want when they put their mind to it, and they got a support system to get them there.
There you
And,
go.
you know, when I sit down and talk to homeless, it's like, hey, what do you want? What do you need? Where are you trying to get to? Let's go eat a meal and let's try to figure out how we can get you there. It ain't over. You woke up this morning. God has a plan for you. So let's figure out what it is and let's keep moving.
There you go. There you go.
It's, I don't know. And I try to, in my thing, I try to run from all this.
What do you mean run from all this?
There's a story in the Bible where the guy is always running. God's like, no, get back. You know, so what I mean by run, I try to stand back and observe, not to be involved. But Gordon and Oscar know, Angel knows it only lasts until it gets to here, and I can't take any more of what's not being done to help others.
Okay.
Then it comes out and it's like, okay, well, I guess that's what you want me to do. I guess I'm gonna have to do that, but I'd rather just sit here and mind my own business and drink my coffee or tea, you know.
So Chris, so it seems to me what you're saying is you've been in a lot of positions where you've kept your mouth quiet and you shut up for a lot until it got to a point.
And yeah, and I shut up like Angel. I'm listening. I'm paying attention on where people stand and if they have any empathy for others. And then it's like, you know what? David and Goliath. Somebody got to fight you sooner or later. And evidently, these people don't have the tools to do it. So let me do some research, get some tools, get some support, and come back. We're going to do what we have to do.
Okay.
You know, so that's all it is. You just got to know there's some support out there. Even if you don't know where it is, you got to find it.
And you mentioned that you said you were a union president?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a fighter right there. Okay, that's did not know that. We'll put a pin on that and come to that later on.
Well, before we put a pin in, we might as well put a pin in a dance group manager. Dancers are going around the world, just so you can leave me alone. No, I mentored some kids in dancing back when I was like 19, 20 years old, and they end up becoming choreographers for some of the biggest acts in the world.
Oh, what type of dance?
We can have that conversation off camera. Stop it.
What type of dance, Chris?
Street dancing, hip hop, popping, locking, like Lady Gaga style dancing.
Wow. Okay.
So
okay.
Her choreographer is one of our guys.
Okay.
I would pay to see Chris go dancing right now.
There's some videos floating around Oceanside that if they ever get out, I'm gonna hurt some people. Now I don't got it like that no more. But if you ask Vettel, she always calls me MC Hammer because my dancers opened up for Hammer, not me, but they did.
Oh,
So
that's what's up.
stuff
Okay.
like that, you know.
Okay.
That's,
Well, there we go.
Those are those are some of my first kids. You know, like they're my little brothers that I
I'm
met.
texting. I'm texting Beto right now. Hold on, Beto. Let me get that video of Chris dancing.
She, she might have one. I don't know.
Hey, with that being said, wow, that's very unique. That is very unique. With that, Oscar, I need to ask you, what unique perspective or experience do you bring with what we're doing with this app?
Yeah. I mean, just in the short, it's just that yeah, I grew up in the hood, man. I grew up in the hood, and I'm Mexicano, and I'm with the peeps, and I serve, and so I think for me, my approach makes it easy for people to open up and build that trust and really, because I think that's the center of it, just kind of the relationship building, and so being who I am, come from, how I am, and who I want to become still, and still where we're going as a nonprofit. I think people really. Really take that into heart, and they want to be a part of it, and I think they want to be more involved in one with the other. So I think this app is really going to make open up opportunity for them to be a part of something bigger than where they're at right now. And so I'm excited about it. Real quick, I do want to mention one little thing, and I'm sorry, Adrian, I got to bring it up actually, but Angel, I'm not sure you should mention it, and I don't want to mention like that, but Angel, something happened in Angel's life with his family, and then Angel dropped everything to be close to his family. And I think that's the essence of a true Mexicano, man. And so there's been studies out there where they always looked into like why are we ethnic people, why do we not make it like to like become richer than what we are, and with all this opportunity that we have, right? People call us lazy, people call us this and that, uneducated, but it's not the fact. The study here that happened here in San Diego years ago, for many years, they looked into people like me who had the opportunity, and we were still not quote unquote set financially, right? And they found out that people like us, this call, people like Angel, myself, and at least with the Mexican part of us, that we rather be closer to our family. We'd rather invest everything that we have in our relationship than to invest in ourselves to become rich. That's why this generational poverty still keeps going on. And that's a fact, bro. I mean, that's just a clear fact. Because as soon as I get $1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, I'm gonna go back to the hood and give it all away. Because to me, I'd rather have friends than money. I'd rather have a closer relationship to my parents, to my dad, than having $1 million. And not to bang on anybody in this call or anything like that. It's just in our nature. It's in our nature to just go back to where we come from. We're like, hey man, I got a little bit. What y'all want to do? Or like in Angel's case, man. Hey man, I got the opportunity. Let me drop everything to be closer to you. And so I think that's something that really resonates for a lot of people in the hood, in the neighborhood, at least in our nonprofit, where they see that we're in the struggle with them, and one with the other. Yeah, we might be a little off. We might have something better than them, but at the end of the day, like we're right there, man. We're right there, and just because we have it doesn't mean we don't share it. And so just Angel's a perfect example of that, and I keep on using Angel because he's been recently coming to the center in the past 6 months now, Angel, something like that, or that's not even recently. That's a while ago, huh? 6 months. And he said, man, I want to help. I just want to help people, and be closer to my family and stuff. And so he's been doing that. And everybody walks in the doors like Angel's like, he says he's quiet, but he's not, bro. He really isn't. Like I had to tell him, hey, keep it down, Angel, please keep it down, man. And so but I think that's the beauty of what we're doing. I think that's the beauty of this approach. And to answer your question, I think that's what it is, man. And so I'm hoping that my experience, my perspective, my journey, what I know, my knowledge, my friends, the center, my connections, even my funny jokes, will be people to this app and to what we're trying to do. Because at the end of the day, I think every single one of us are coming from different paths to the same goal of trying to make people happy and successful. And I can't wait to hear all these great stories, man. Because I think we've already done it one way or the other, right? We already done our path. We already seen people happy and in one way or the other. And I think that's what drives us still, right? I love mental health. I love trauma approach. I love financial literacy. I love that human connection, and so something that I'm still learning. I'm still within me. It's still something that I still want to know more about, and I'm excited to move forward with it.
All right. Awesome.
I want to give you another perspective on from when I was working and I hired these guys. So I had this one white guy that we hired, and he said, "I don't understand," because his dad was a contractor when he was growing up, so he worked with his dad. He said, "All the black guys," he said, "black people always talk about it's hard to get a job, but when I grew up, all the black guys had their own businesses."
Mhm.
I said, "Do you know why they had their own businesses?" He said, "Yeah, because they were smart." He said, "No, it was out of necessity.
Mm.
They couldn't get hired, so they had to start their own business." And the look on his face when I said that to him blew me away. It's like, so when they see black and brown people working their own business, they think that's what they want to do. No, that's our necessity of survival.
Mm. Mm. That's
So, and I
go-
always get in debates with that with people online, like, well, you lived in Baltimore. How did you make it out? I had mentors. I had people supporting me. I had people to look up to. And that 12 block radius of that part of the town you're talking about, they don't have that.
Mm.
They got the pimps, the drug pushers, and the prostitutes.
Yeah.
So that they gravitate to as success in their neighborhoods. So that's
Mhm.
the thing about perspectives. Like we got to try to enlighten people about what they think they see, what they perceive.
Mhm.
We're all prejudiced, and until we all can admit that we're prejudiced, it's hard to move forward.
Mm. There you
You know,
go. There you go. That's
I
that's a definitely, we all have a perspective like that. I think we've all seen from the bottom, and I think each of us individually, we are bringing those different perspectives in here. I just want to kick back with what Oscar brought up, hope, the word hope. And I think that hope is a big word, and it's also part of the last question that I'd like to ask. Since we're going to go ahead and push this forward, we need to have these kind of conversations, because these conversations are important for other individuals to say, "Hey, oh, he went through the same thing I went through. Oh, wow, that's what I wanted. I was the same way. I heard the Angels. He did this with his mom and dad, and just like Gordon with his kids, or Chris, like you being around traveling. There is a lot of hope that we have for a lot of things. And my question that I want to ask to each of you, and I'll start with myself, which is, who do you hope benefits the most from this platform? With each and every one of us and all our different perspectives and all our different trainings and all of our different areas of where we want to help at. My hope, I like working with returning residents. They used to call them ex-cons. They call them all kinds of different things. The new word is returning residents. Transitioning veterans. When I was in high school, I wasn't planning on going to college. I went into the military. And there are some individuals who don't want to go to college, and they don't want to go in the military, and they want something to do. So that individual that I hope is that person says, "Hey, you know what? I want a skill set." I'm medically retired out of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. For 11 months, I was bedridden. Didn't know what I was going to do. Blew my knees out in my house by myself trying to figure out what I was going to do. I ended up eventually picking up a drone, got a drone license, started flying, started doing house inspections, roof inspections, real estate videos, weddings. I started doing all of those little things. And all it took was $150 for that license. That was it. $150 for a license, and then I can go commercial, do whatever I want. And so I started doing that. And then I started saying, when my wife ran for office, I was hearing so much stuff going on. They were saying things to my wife in certain ways. And I was saying to myself, you know what? Would they say that to me? Would they say that to me as a man? So before I even get involved, because I know that I'm going to run into some of these people, because I'm in the back listening to the Zoom meetings on what's going on. And I'm like, before I go off on someone, I need to straighten up my mouth. I need to do some public speaking. I started going to Toastmasters. That's something that I think is important. I think that's something that I bring. That's those individuals who are ready to make that change, who have, might be camera shy. This conversation that we're having right here is exactly what is necessary and what we need, and what our individuals that we're picking up, they need to know. They need to be able to articulate what they're saying. They need to be able to talk. They need to be able to fully. And if they don't, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help guide them. So with that being said, I've got returning residents, transitioning military, someone who just wants a job, just wants to learn, just an individual who wants just the training. Because what I plan on offering and what we're offering, we already have interns that we have through my business that I'm switching from a for-profit to a non-profit. Whereas before we were paying out of our pocket, and I didn't realize until hanging with Oscar in as much that those nonprofits can do some things for you. And I need a nonprofit, and that's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm here for. So the person that benefits most from me are veterans, returning residents, those individuals looking to change, someone in a transition. That's the type of person that I hope to benefit from what I'm going to offer on this app. I'm going to ask the same of you, Oscarin. What do you hope that they offer? Excuse me. Who benefits the most from what you're going to offer on this app?
Man, I think it's gonna be me, bro. Because I'm gonna get a million new friends. I like friends. No, I think I really think the people who are gonna just log in more, the people who have been following us for the past 10 years, man. The people who are volunteers, supporters that want to be part of something. I can tell you, man, so many stories where we had events and the people who are just want to help. They're not there for the resource. They just want to give back, and so I think this app is going to make it easy for people to help other people. And I think there's a lot of people who are craving to give back, man. There are people who are ready to just, be part of the army of givers. And so I'm really hoping that this app's going to open up those opportunities to have people, another person say, I want to do my nonprofit. How do I do that? And over my time, I've probably done like 5, 6 nonprofits, even more, man, would try to help people just open up their own nonprofit. And so I think that's gonna be the best for me. I think that's gonna be the most I could hope, because I think the more we help people give back, there's gonna be millions of people who can get what they what the most desire, and I think that's how we uplift the world, man. So and aside from me getting a million new friends, I get to be a part of that journey. So I just think that's gonna be a beautiful thing.
Awesome. Thank you. Gordon, talk to me. Who's gonna benefit most from you on this platform?
Angel said it earlier. The people that are going to benefit from this are those that think differently, those that have not accepted society's way of living, those that have said that, Chris said it, I mean, if working a job, a W-2 job is not an option, whether people don't want to hire you because of your skin tone, your ethnicity, your gender, your religious background, whatever, if people don't want to hire you, go do your own thing. It's going to be more challenging than just filling out an application and starting to get paid hourly, but the benefits are going to be bigger, I think, in somebody going through those challenges to start their own business. I really see it as a platform for growth. It's going to be twofold. It's going to be a twofold purpose. People will be able to grow as individuals, whether it's through entrepreneurship, through self-education, through whatever, because we're going to have courses on there, and people are going to be able to grow as a community member. I feel like you benefit so much more from helping others than you do by even helping yourself, because the learning is tenfold. I mean, you could go take a course, you go learn how to do something, you can go get healthier yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever. But until you actually go and help somebody else do any one of those things, you won't understand what growth you'll get by helping somebody else. So it's going to be twofold. It's going to be one, building yourself up, any of those areas, again, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. I hate to throw finance into that group because those other three are
that's
bigger.
Important. That's important, man.
It is. But I think you're also going to be able to grow by being able to help others. That online community, like I was saying in the little chat, that we're basically extending what Oscarin has already been practicing. He's been doing this day in, day out for years, and now we're going to add this digital format to it where people can benefit from that type of environment right on their digital device or right on their mobile device or whatever. So
all right, I love that. There you go. Angel, talk to me. Who do you hope benefits the most from this platform?
I think for me, just the community in general, and not just that I hope, but that I hope take advantage of the app, the resources, the people, especially for those people who just have that itch to try something new, whether it's a new business, a new course, learn something new. I think it would be the perfect place to start. Not only because everything's going to be on the app, but because of the support group that's going to also be on the app. And I think not only for those, for the community, but also for myself. And that's kind of the reason why I've been going to the community center, is just meeting so many amazing people. And even with you guys, and speaking with each of you, just you never know who you're going to meet. And this is obviously going to be digitally. So it's going to be even easier to get in contact with someone who, I mean, you might want to improve your financial literacy. So, I mean, we have people who do that, marketing, or you might need help hiring someone for something. So I think it would be the perfect opportunity for people to sign up and really take advantage of all the resources.
Outstanding. Chris, go ahead, bring it home for us, Chris. Talk to me.
Hopefully it benefits the city. Hopefully this app is, I mean, I think we're designing it to tear down walls. You know, it's to open it up to different communities to be able to work together to make this an awesome city. Like you guys said, you know, we all have our different sets within the city, but East Side don't know what the West Side is doing versus whomever. The biggest community I see that does the biggest events is the Samoan community. You know, they are a tight-knit community, and I go to a lot of events for a lot of different cultures because I enjoy it. So I see this app, you know, putting it out there like, hey, we have Samoans that do this, or Mexicans or blacks or whites that do these things, and they're working together within this app. How are they able to do it? So how can we do it as a whole community? So I just see this app, we keep pushing it right. I believe we'll be tearing down walls of stereotyping people and allowing people to understand that we're all people and we all basically want the same thing. You know, all of us want to be safe. We want to be fed. We want a roof over our heads, and we want to have fun. There's not much more to it than that. You know, some people want to be rich. Some people are comfortable where they are, but nobody wants to be starving and poor. No one wakes up in the morning tomorrow, I want to be starving. I want to be poor. So we got to get everybody to that level of safe, secure, food, roof over their head, clothes on their back. That's it.
There we go. That's it, folks. So
oh, I hear aliens.
and he's gone.
Oh, what happened?
I'm here.
Oh,
Here we go. With this being said, I'm sorry about that. As we wrap up today's conversation, we want to thank each of you for taking the time to get to know the people behind the Uplift Our App community app. These extraordinary gentlemen each bring unique experiences, talents, and perspectives, but we're united by one common purpose: to build stronger individuals, stronger families, and stronger communities. This is more than an app. It's a movement built on authentic relationships, meaningful conversations, and a shared commitment to lifting one another up. We invite you to join us on the journey. Download the app, become part of the conversation, share your story, and help build a community where every voice matters. Until next time, remember, when one of us rises, we all rise. I'm Samuel Davis III, and on behalf of Uplift Our Community team, thank you for being with us. And until then, keep uplifting our community.